What's up, everyone? It is Friday. Happy Friday. You made it to the last Friday of 2024. Can you believe it? I think I could go play a little clip from every episode and tell you that which Friday it is for every week of the year that we've been live. It is the last Friday of 2024. I am so excited that you are joining us. Are you sick of your family yet? I wasn't sick of my family, but I did have to come back to do the show. So we are in the studio in South Florida. I got a special guest. I got a special guest. It's the final show of the year. Could I really do the final show of the year without bringing it back and really, really honing in on recruiting, talent, giving some more tips for job seekers? We are moving into a new year. We want to help you. We want you to level up your career. We want you to learn while you're here, but really we want you to laugh and we want you to have a good time. So, you know what I'm going to ask you? If you've ever seen the show before, would you share the show? Be a dear, tell other people that we are live, let them know. And while you are sharing the show, tell us in the comments where you are joining from. I'm in Boca. It's beautiful outside. I wish I was outside, but I'm in this studio. I got a special guest with me. Let's bring him out. I got Mr. Bobby McNeil Jr. in the house. What's up, Bobby?
Hey, how you doing, Lauren? Hey, everybody.
I am great. Thank you for joining me. Just a couple days after the Christmas holiday.
Yeah,
Appreciate you making the time.
yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. Okay, so while people are telling us where they are joining us from, where are you today?
I am in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Raleigh. I was just telling him I was in Raleigh recently. I loved Raleigh when I was there. It was beautiful. A lot of hills, though. I'm not so
Yeah,
used to that where I live. It's very flat here. Just walk flat over to the beach.
yeah,
Love the mountains and the view in Raleigh, especially. Got to make it back up there soon.
yeah, for sure. Like Raleigh is like we have a lot of green space, and a lot of great companies there, kind of like spread out all over the place. So yeah, so love it here. Been here all my life. So yeah, love Raleigh.
Love it. I've been in Florida my whole life. So you've been there your whole life. I've been here my whole life. We got Tom in the house from Boston. What's up, Tom? Gregory, so good to see you, friend. Canada, it is cold. 32 degrees Fahrenheit.
32
Thanks for
degrees.
dropping the Fahrenheit for me. You know I need it.
Yeah.
Um, all right, Bobby, while people start joining us and telling us where they're from, they can ask questions in the chat. But while they're doing all of that, could you please tell everybody, give us a little introduction. Who is Bobby McNeil Jr.?
Yeah. So my name's Bobby, as many of you already know through the introductions and things like that. But I'm born and raised here in North Carolina, in the Raleigh area. I've been in talent acquisition and recruitment for about 16 years. So I've been around a long time. I started off my career kind of like a recruiting coordinator, like kind of research person for a staffing agency. So the first 6-7 years of my career, I did the staffing agency thing. Got really good at that. Then around the 7th year of my career, I made the transition to more like corporate recruiting. I've basically recruited almost every skill set. I've been in, obviously, staffing agencies doing that thing. I've recruited in biotech, life sciences. I'm currently in the finance industry now. I've recruited for R&D and engineering, and I've recruited for tech as well. Most of my career has been recruiting tech, and that's kind of like what I've been known for. But I've been able to kind of transition through different industries and things like that, and been able to work my way up. Right. So I'm currently a talent acquisition manager for a finance company. Basically, running the whole talent acquisition platform and process for the company, running the whole org. So I've been able to work my way up and scale my way up. Outside of that, I do a lot of speaking engagements. I've basically spoke at a lot of different tech conferences and non-tech conferences. Most recently, I was at Thanksgiving in Washington, D.C., where I did like a kind of a non-technical kind of speaking engagement there. I'm a former college athlete. I know, Lauren, me and you will kind of talk about this. You see the jerseys back here. So I was an all-state high school basketball player here in North Carolina. So I was like really good when I was younger. That afforded me to get a full ride to Barton College, which was at the time one of the best Division II programs in the country. We won a national championship my senior year, NCAA Division II. If you go on YouTube, you can actually find the finish on YouTube. It was one of the wildest finishes in NCAA history. My teammate, he scored 7 points in 45 seconds for us to win it. So shout out to Anthony Atkinson, man. Appreciate you for that. So won a national championship. This is my jersey here. Couple like photos back there. They give you like a miniature version of the trophy, and things like that. So award-winning, talent acquisition, leader. I've done a lot in the diversity recruiting space, and beside of that, I'm a foodie. I love eating out, trying new food, things like that. I love the movies. I love working out. I got my boxing gloves back there too. So that's just a little bit about me.
Oh, I love it. Okay, that was a great introduction. Y'all, award-winning athlete, award-winning talent acquisition specialist. Bobby, is your company hiring?
We are.
How can people find the jobs that you're hiring for? Come on, let's plug it. Do it right now.
Yeah. So if you go to my LinkedIn, you'll have there's a link of I think the hottest job that we're recruiting for right now, which I'm looking for a machine learning engineer. So you can go there, you can click on that. That'll actually take you to our career page. Right now I'm recruiting for tech roles, operations roles. Most of my roles are finance as well. So I'm, across the spectrum. So you can definitely find me there. You can, go to the career page, or you can just kind of pay attention, follow me and pay attention to what I post. Cause I post the openings that we have and what we're looking for. So you can definitely find those there.
Love it. See, y'all, we want you to get a job, especially over the holidays. Hiring never stops. Some people thinks it does, but it doesn't. At some point, I'm sick of my family members asking for a resume, and I go back to looking at yours.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does that happen to you, Bobby, over the holidays? Does all your family immediately need new jobs, and so needs this, and can you help me do this?
Yeah. So they know I'm off on PTO, as most people are, right? So they're take this opportunity. It's like, hey, can you look at my resume? Can you look at my LinkedIn? Oh, I had an interview, recently, and I said this, but should I have said that? So they use that time, while I'm accessible to get career advice and pointers and things like that. So
I joke with people. I'm like, essentially like my sisters and their immediate family can ask for what they need. But if you're like a level removed from that, probably don't ask me at Christmas.
Yeah, that's kind of the time you want to kind of relax and unwind a little bit. You want to help, but I just want to drink some eggnog, watch Home Alone. Just let me have an hour and a half to watch Macaulay Culkin, deal with these burglars in this movie. So
I think I watched Home Alone 4 times this year.
yeah, my favorite is Home Alone 2. I like Home Alone 2 better than Home Alone 1.
Okay, I did not. I didn't. I like number 1. I'm an original person, but I respect that you are admitting you like number 2 more publicly.
Yeah, it's just it's in New York City, and it's the Christmas in New York kind of thing. So I think that's why I'm drawn to that. Now, Home Alone 1 is great. 2 thumbs up. Siskel and Ebert, right? 2 thumbs up. But it's something about Home Alone 2. It's in New York City. You see, the tree, the Christmas tree, and all of that. It was a whole nother level for me. So
okay, I'm gonna ask you: is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Yes. Or no?
Yes.
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 All right. If you're watching the show and you don't think Die Hard is a Christmas movie, go bye-bye. All right. Just kidding. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. We're 10 minutes in. Let's move through a little bit. Typically we do High Five Friday. Today we are not doing High Five Friday. Everybody, if you're watching, give Michelle Craig a big thank you. She's getting some time off today for the holidays. And also this is not her job. She just does this because she loves you guys and loves me and loves to high five everybody on LinkedIn. But if you want to leave some people some high fives, celebrate the people in your network, or highlight a job seeker I don't think enough of you take advantage of this with how many impressions the show gets. You can highlight job seekers every Friday. We talk about them live. We share who they are. We highlight what they're looking for. Y'all, take advantage of this when we're sharing this link. Especially if you know somebody who has been on the market for a long time. Bobby knows it's hard for people to ask for help. People get tired of asking for help. So reach out, do something nice for somebody else. It's completely free. You literally just go on, fill out the link, and we'll highlight whoever it is you submit. Okay. Thank you to Sendoso. If you see above us, they're our official gifting sponsor. You can comment #Sendoso. Today we are giving away a Nip Yada Cheers to a Year drinkable card. Should we show them what it looks like?
Yeah.
I think we should show them. This is what it looks like. It says, cheers to a year we'd all like to forget. So if you've had a year you'd like to forget, and you'd like a shot of Fireball to go with it, comment #Sendoso, and we will send you that. And you can cheers to a year, or you can send it to somebody else who had a year they'd like to forget. It does have to be sent to somebody in the USA. There we go. You did it right. Hashtag Sindoso. What's up, David? Oh, Gregory said you did a Reggie Miller before Reggie Miller did Reggie Miller in MSG. And he said, go Hurricanes, Bobby. There you go.
Carolina Hurricanes, yeah. NHL team or hockey team here in Raleigh. Yeah.
There you go. He's always on it with the sports teams. I wish I was that quick. I am not. All right. Again, comment hashtag Sendoso to win. We're going to jump into the topics. We got 4 hot topics. Are you ready, Bobby?
I'm ready.
All right. The first one we're going to talk about, I made a post about this one yesterday. I'm getting all my days. This is like the week that's forgotten. Nobody knows what day any day is.
Yeah. Easy to get confused.
So confused. Okay, but skills employers will be hunting for in 2025. I made a post about this, Bobby, so a lot of people know my opinion. I'd love it if you would take it away on your opinion. What do you think the main skills employers will be hunting for in 2025?
Yeah, so I want to start with like the non-tech skills, because I think a lot of times those don't get talked about enough, right? Because there you can be either in tech or not in tech and still have these skills, right? So the number one skill I want to talk about that I think is often overlooked a lot is data analytics, like data analysis. And the reason I say that is because I've worked across numerous industries, and taking data, taking raw data and being able to transpose that or put that in a way where business leaders and executives and C-level executives can digest that data and make quick, sound business decisions. That's a skill set that's quite often overlooked, right? You know, if it's Microsoft Excel, right? You know, I know we talk about Microsoft Excel like it's, you know, really basic, but it's more than just like data entry, right? It's like the data extrapolation, being able to take that data and convert it and organize it and structure it, right? So like the micros, macros, you know, the formulas, all those different things, the advanced level Excel skills, and then be able to use like certain like business intelligence technology, like a Power BI or a SQL, to create like dashboards where you take the data from it being raw to taking data to like where it tells a story. So I think that's a skill set that not a lot of people talk about, that I think is often overlooked. I know that's a hot skill set where I am, and also talking to a lot of my other like TA leaders and TA managers. When we go and talk to like the business leaders, the hiring managers, the C-level executives, right? When we go talk to people who are influencing decision makers to make decisions on hiring, one of the desired skill sets is like, hey, if we can get somebody to come in here and take this data and make it digestible, make it understandable to business leaders so I can make quick decisions, that's golden. So data analytics is definitely one.
If somebody is watching right now and they're like, Bobby, I get Excel. I get that. I know how to do that, but I don't know how to explain that I know how to do that on my resume. What advice do you give them?
Yeah, I think learning certain softwares like SQL, Power BI, being able to say that you took data and you created dashboards, you took data and you created visualizations, right? And how you communicated that to business leaders. I always say in a resume, and I've said this before, you know, other shows, I'll say it here, you want to show impact on your resume. You don't want to focus on job duties and responsibilities. You want to show how you made an impact, right? So you want to talk, you know, you want to talk about how you took the data and made it visual. You want to talk about how you were able to present that data either in an informal or formal fashion to leaders so they can make decisions. And the key thing is, when I talk about impact, when you presented that data to this business leader, what yielded from that? What was the result of your hard work? What was the result of the dashboards or the visualizations that you created? So that's how you showcase it on your resume.
Yes, the impact's important. I know later we're going to get to being or winning after being an athlete, right? I know we're going to get to that, but it's kind of like the trophies you get when you win a championship. You have something to show. If you really made an impact in the thing you did at work, you have something to show for it in some way, shape, or form. It might not be a trophy, but you can talk about the money you saved. You can talk about the impact on the team. There's ways that you can make it tangible for the person that you're communicating with. And sometimes it takes literally sitting down with, when I talk to job seekers, we sit down, I'm like, okay, what did you do? And then, like Bobby said, they give me something very generic, like their general duties. I'm like, okay, well, in that, what did we solve, right? And then we dig into that. Okay, well, when we solved this, what were the steps we took to do that? Okay, by taking these steps, and we dig and we dig and we dig, and then finally they get to the point where they're like, oh my God, I did do that, and this is what came from it. And it all started by them just giving me like, oh yeah, in the day-to-day duty, I did this. No, guys, we know that. We don't want to hear that.
Yeah, yeah. Which leads to the next skill, if I'm okay to talk about that,
Go.
is communication. Well, actually, let me make that more refined. Effective communication. Not just communication, effective communication. Being able to tell a story, being able to put a narrative together with words, right? I think that's a skill set that I know I said data analysis is the most overlooked, and I still believe that, but I think effective communication is the creme de la creme of all like skills, because it's going to be useful in your career, but it's also going to be very useful in your personal life. Being able to effectively and clearly give, either verbally or written, present information in a clear, concise way.
The concise part too.
Yeah.
A lot of times, especially when you get to the point where you're communicating with C-suite, they don't have time for all of the how we got here, why we really feel this way. Like, get to the point. Not like one of the habits of highly successful people is to begin with the end in mind. Just start with the ending. Look at your whole speech, the whole thing you want to say to that person. What's the end? What's the point? Start with that.
Yeah.
And they will tell you to shut up when they've had enough.
Yeah.
But right, Bobby?
Yeah. No,
Right?
you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I've, being a talent acquisition manager, I have about 4 years of that experience, and I'm currently there now. And oftentimes I have to go to directors, and I work very closely with the C-level executives in my company, right? Because I'm recruiting for roles for them. I manage some sort of TA process for them. And you're right, Lauren, they want you to get to the point because they only got 10 minutes, they only got 15 minutes, and they need to, again, make clear, quick decisions. So you're absolutely right. Like getting to the point, right? Not being too long-winded and just giving them concisely what they need.
I love this. Lee showing up in the comments. Hold on, let me move us up so we're not blocked. Lee says, leveraged Excel, Power BI, and SQL to create dynamic dashboards that visualize key performance metrics, enabling C-suite executives to make informed decisions, resulting in a 30% improvement in operational efficiency and 15% reduction in decision time. What do you think about that?
For a resume?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that, because here's why this is great. Because he listed out the actual apparatuses that he used to create, to do the data analysis and come up with the dashboards, right? So then those are the buzzwords right there, right? So if I'm a recruiter and I already know my hiring manager is looking for somebody who has these skills, are right there at the top, right? Dashboards, visualization, the metrics, and then he showed impact, right? And the results. So all of that, I like that. I think that's perfect. That's how you show impact. That's how you show how the work I did made a difference to the business. So yeah, I like that.
Yes, like Marissa says, it is how you made impact. That's what's important. What's up, Dean? Dean showed up with the potato. If you know Dean, that's his thing. Hashtag Sendoso. Don't forget, we got a couple of people entered to win. Yeah, I really think that, the skills employers will be hunting for in 2025. A lot of them, I feel like when we talk about it, people are like, it seems obvious. It might seem obvious, but they're not things that people are really investing in getting right, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
Like,
absolutely right.
we all, like you said, at first you said communication. You said, hold on, let me fix that. Effective communication. It's important to know the difference. It's important to know the difference between somebody who can communicate with you and somebody who can communicate well. Last week, I don't know if you watched the show, Bobby. I had my mom on the show. One of the things we talked about, we had Michelle and her mom on too. I don't want to discredit that, but one of the things I talked about my mother with was delegation. And the biggest reason that delegation fails is that the instructions weren't communicated properly.
Exactly.
That's effective communication, because you probably communicated a lot and then you sent them on their way, but did you communicate effectively? And look at now, Bobby's talking about it for skills employers who are hunting in 2025. It's important.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, it's great to have like the hard skills and the technical skills, But what separates a good candidate from a great candidate is the ability to communicate your experience on your resume. And it all starts in the interview. Really, it starts on your resume, but then
Yeah.
it's reinforced in the interview, right? I need a narrative. Walk me through your career. Walk me through this position and what you did. Tell me about a time when. On the interview, basically what they're assessing for is like, can I visualize putting this person in the boardroom? Can I visualize putting this person in a meeting? Because chances are how you're communicating in the interview is how you're going to communicate on the job. And that's what they're looking at. That's what they're assessing, right? So there's been plenty of people, and Lauren, you probably know this. I've seen so many people, they have the skills, but they can't tell the story.
Yeah.
And we need the narrative. And even in your life, right? Like even if you're doing sales, or even if you're selling yourself as an entrepreneur, or any of those things, or if you're not on the job and you're networking, having that, effective, impactful communication that's going to leave a lasting impression is going to be everything.
Yeah. The other thing I've seen, and I think this goes kind of with effective communication, but I see a lot of job seekers who they're working on telling the story, they're working on getting the effective communication down. They get almost to the finish line, right? Like third, fourth interview, Bobby, I'm sure knows what I'm talking about. And they get right there, and then something happens. And Bobby, maybe you can speak to this if you've experienced this, but I've experienced this a number of times, specifically in the second half of this year. But I've seen a number of candidates right at the finish line. All of the sudden, this in person job needs to be hybrid, or all of the sudden, like this role that I totally accepted, this $110,000 salary has to be 135. Like, and it's we're waiting until almost the last interview, and I understand people having expectations for what they need in the role, but if things are communicated to you early on that this is the cap, or this is the schedule, or this is what's expected of you, I've seen a lot of job seekers lately, and I'm sure job seekers will come at me that the company's changed you, whatever, I can handle that. But I've seen a lot of job seekers lately almost get to the finish line and, in my opinion, shoot themselves in the foot by changing what they need when they're about to get an offer.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen that quite often, and actually, I'm glad you brought this up, because what I was going to say as well is like we think oftentimes of communication as outward. Communication is also inward as well. Being able to listen, being able to take in the information and do something with that, right? So as a recruiter or as a talent acquisition manager, I try to be as open and upfront about the work culture, the office hours requirement, if it's hybrid or remote, early on. And I communicate, say, hey, is this something that you're okay with? This is how it's set. This is not going to change. If it's something that you're not okay with, please let me know right now. Right.
Right.
So part of communication also is inward, being able to take information and comprehend it. Right. So that leads to your point, like being able to listen to the person on the other end of the table, or the other end of the virtual chat, and take that information, right? So communication goes both ways. It's also outward, but it's also inward as well.
Yes. Gregory made a comment. I'd love it if you would speak to this. Gregory thinks that it's harder to show impact if you are looking for low or intermediate level roles. What do you think about that, Bobby?
It's hard to show impact if you are in looking for a low or immediate role. So I'm thinking, I guess you're talking about like entry level roles, or like kind of mid career roles.
Correct.
Um, Entry level positions, mid career positions, oftentimes they can be a lot more tactical in nature versus strategic, right? Like your principal level roles, or your like leader manager roles, they, sometimes it could be a blend of both tactical and strategic, or just all strategic. Um, I think that at any level you can show impact, right? I had an example recently of a intern that did a lot of incredible work, right? With the hard skills that he had with like cloud computing and things like that. What he did, because then he got promoted with us, but what he did is that this is what I did. These are the skills I use, just like the example that the other gentleman just had, and this is what happened, right? Oftentimes, people have a hard time displaying impact on their resume because they don't count their wins. And
Yes.
I've said this before. I mentioned it in my book that I'm hopefully going to release next year. But a lot of people don't count their wins, right? So you should be looking for wins throughout your career, right? If you get a positive review from your manager, you get a positive review from a stakeholder, you get a positive review from a teammate, you should be like collecting those, putting those somewhere in a folder on your personal computer. You should be emailing those if you can. So that time, when that time comes on your resume, when it's time for you to update your resume, you can go to your wins bank and you can pull out the stuff that's most relevant. It's like, okay, the onboarding I'm just going to think about something like what I did as an HR coordinator to, I don't know, for intern onboarding. All right. Or for our new college grad onboarding, I did this many, and because of this, it led to this. It doesn't matter if it's entry level, mid career. I think one of the key reasons why I've been able to excel over the last 16 years, because each and every role I was in, I showed impact in some sort, and I was able to display it. But not only display it, I was able to communicate it.
Yes. Yes, Marissa, weekly, monthly, yearly. I think you should have some that are really big wins, but you should also have some that are smaller. Because the smaller ones do provide impact over time. And sometimes things that feel small in the moment actually are really big later on. You just didn't realize it. So definitely keep track of these wins. The other thing I want to say is ask people for referrals, recommendations, reviews. Ask them. It doesn't even have to be public. I know people always say, like, oh, will you give me a recommendation on LinkedIn, which is great. But sometimes just messaging someone and saying, listen, I really enjoyed working on this project with you. I know it's coming to an end. I'd love it if I could just have some type of referral. If we could ever work together again, some type of recommendation I could keep on file that I could have that shows that this project went beyond whatever the expectation was, right? And you can word that however you want to, but ask. People don't know you need these things, and people don't willingly just, oh, here, let me write some super nice email and say great things about you. I mean, it doesn't happen often, Bobby. It happens sometimes, but not often.
No, you're right.
You
Yeah.
got to tell people what you need. Okay, we got a few people. Yes, David, some people think they can change the mind on work from home, but it's really not the case. If employer has in their head that they're back in the office, they're probably back in the office. You're
Right.
probably not switching that just for you. I know that you want to think you're that special, whoever you are, but as David says, they're probably not changing their mind. And
Right.
Tom says that negotiating in bad faith is not received well. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah.
When you show up at that fourth interview and it's not what you said it was, I don't know if I really want to hire you now.
Yeah. And even like no, yeah, Tom's absolutely right. But even with the work from home thing, a lot of times, but I would say all the time, I'll say all the time, there's business reasons why companies have gone from remote to hybrid or 5 days in the office. There's business reasons around all of those things. And I think like as I've elevated in my career and I've been in certain rooms and been able to see how certain decisions are made and how, okay, if we make this decision, then it affects the business this way. But if we make this decision, then it affects the business this way. Right. So there's business reasons, and it's not always like, oh, my big bad boss is being mean. No, there's certain business reasons why the landscape has changed with that.
Yeah. You think about you more than other people think about you, and it's probably got nothing to do with you. It's a boardroom and a budget and some decision that's over your head that's really got nothing to do with you personally. But if it's a policy for one, it's typically a policy for all. That's the other thing, especially when you get to a big corporate company. Like, you're not going to go work at Subway corporate and them say it's 3 days in office and you say, I'm only willing to work one, and them say, okay, cool, we're going to hire you anyway. No,
Right.
no, that's just not how that works. Go work for a little mom and pop company if you really want somebody to bend the rules for you. That's how you get that done. And that's the other thing I will say. Go to the right place for what you want. If you want someone to
Mhm.
bend the rules, go work for a little mom and pop place with not a million people that they can kind of do what they want. If
Mhm.
you want to go work for an Amazon, be willing to do what Amazon says you have to do to work there so that eventually you can have X Amazon on your LinkedIn profile.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm a former, Amazon recruiter as well. But I would say just being around for so long, like work from home pre 2020 was like not like a part of the culture. Before 2020, working from home was like almost like it was like a luxury. right? It was a luxury, right? It didn't become like a mandate by many people until after what happened in 2020, right? So I think we have to remember that work from home is, prior to 2020, it was like a luxury. Not many people did that. Now there were people that needed certain accommodations. Yeah, they worked from home. Even now, there are companies that are willing, if you need certain accommodations, then they'll grant you that. But the policy is the policy. I know a lot of times people blame the recruiter or they blame the hiring manager or they blame their manager. And like you said, Lauren, it's like 4 levels higher and your manager wasn't even in the room when that decision was made. So
All right. I think this is perfect time to switch into the next topic because we're kind of talking about interviews and all these things anyways. And before you get to an interview, you have to learn how to decode that job description. And I'm going to let Bobby take it away, but the one thing I'm going to say that I always tell you is if you are not willing to read the entire job description, don't apply for that job. All right, Bobby. Talk about how to decode job descriptions.
yeah, so I get a lot of Lauren. I'm pretty sure you've gotten this as well. It's like a lot of people won't apply. Let's just talk about the requirements. A lot of people won't apply if they don't meet every single requirement, which I think that's not good, right? Typical job description. I'll explain why. The typical job description probably has, and again, there's exceptions to this, but let's just say standard. There are probably, I don't know, 8 to 10 bullet points in the requirement section, right? And a lot of people, they won't even apply. They won't even shoot their shot. It's like, oh, I don't meet every single requirement. I personally don't believe you need to meet every single requirement for the sake of applying,
Right.
right? So how you decode this, right? Okay, there's requirements, right? In my experience being in this industry a really long time, in my start of my career, was part of my job was to write job descriptions, right? That's how I learned how to be a recruiter. That's how I learned talent acquisition. That's how I learned to get in the psyche of the hiring managers because I wrote their job descriptions. And even when I have touch point meetings, even when I have like my meetings about the position, the only 4 requirements that they really care about, for the sake of applying, is the education requirement, the skills requirement, the experience requirement, and the specialization requirement. In my opinion, my professional opinion, doing this for a long time, and I'm pretty sure there's differences in opinions. If just for the sake of applying, if you meet those 4 out of the 8 to 10, you should definitely submit your resume. Because the education requirement. Now, I know there's some positions that do require a bachelor's degree. There's some positions that do require a master's degree, but just because of the level and scope and specification, fine, right? But you want to try your best to meet that. The skills experience, you got to have the skills, right? If somebody's looking for somebody who has experience with Java, C, and Python, or Java and Python, you need to meet that, right? That's just part of the core role, right? The experience requirement. Now, this is where if you see years of experience, like 5+ years, 7+ years, there's a lot of specific reasons why they're looking for that, right? Probably because they're trying to replace somebody that had that years of experience, or this has come from somebody who's had to manage talent and hire talent for my team, not my current team, but teams in the past that reported to me. I may have very junior level people on my team, so I want somebody experienced to kind of diversify the level of experience on my team. So sometimes that's why they're asking that. But if you see no years of experience, then that means they're more focused on the depth of the experience, not
Right.
necessarily the years of experience, right? The specialization, right? I'm looking for an HR generalist with 5 years of experience, or HR manager with 5 years of experience, and that specializes with working with labor unions. That's going to be something they need. And the reason those requirements are in there is because that's what they need as far as the business need, right? So when you're looking at those are like the big 4, right? Just for the sake of applying. If you meet those 4, shoot your resume. I would even say if you meet 3 out of the 4, submit your resume. Now, the other requirements that you'll see: strong attention to detail, communication skills, good organization skills, ability to collaborate. Those next 4 to 5, maybe 6 requirements, you can demonstrate that in an interview, right? We'll learn about your communication skills. We'll ask scenario-based questions about attention to detail and communication collaboration in the interview, right? But the resume is really kind of see your hard skills and how your hard skills made an impact. You can get some indication of somebody's soft skills in a resume, but they're really assessed in an interview, right? When asking behavioral based questions, they can even put you in a situation where you may be asked to demonstrate.
100%. Like David says, if he works in accounting, but he knows that if a job asks for a CPA, he's not wasting his time applying. Like he understands that that is something that would just be a requirement for that job, that's not something you're getting around. Um, I kind of look at this as like when you said the years of experience, I love that you brought up the fact that maybe the team is more junior, things like that. Or the other part that you talked about was replacing someone on a team with a certain level of experience. I don't think that job seekers think about what's happening internally of why this job is posted enough. I think that that's something else when you're thinking about decoding a job description. You need to think about, why is this job posted? What level is it at on the team? How many people are probably on this team? What is the hierarchy in this company? Who does this person report to? You should be thinking about these things if this is a job you really want to apply for. And I don't think people think about that, in the fact that you can find out a lot of that from a job description.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Absolutely. And that's kind of how you decode that for the purposes of applying, because the requirements are the needs. Like it's there for a reason. It's not because it's just not like manifested out of thin air. Like people think, oh yeah, let's just find somebody with 10 years of experience. I'll give you an example of a hiring manager I worked with in the past at a previous employer. He was looking for somebody more junior level on his team, because hiring somebody more junior level on his team would let somebody move from just kind of being a project manager to somebody who has some supervisory experience. And it also allowed them to be more strategic versus tactical. So they needed somebody junior level to come in who could be more tactical. And then also that set that person up for their career development, because that junior level person was going to be supervised by that senior level person. So there's reasons around that. Now, if that hiring manager went and found somebody senior level just like that person, then it's a ripple effect that it causes, because now, okay, we still need somebody to do tactical work. This senior level person is not going to do tactical work because they have strategic qualifications, right? So now you're putting a candidate in a role that they're not going to be happy in. And then your current person that's like, hey, Bobby, wait, I thought we were going to find somebody at junior level so I can get my supervisory chops. So there's reasons behind that, why you see certain requirements and why they are that.
I love that. Gregory says, what's the difference between preferred and asset? In his opinion, it's gray area lingo. I think we just hit this, like we talked about years of experience, so I think we got that. But preferred, like something being preferred on the job description. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so for instance, like we could be looking for somebody who has it's a hard requirement that you have a bachelor's degree in accounting, right? But it'll be preferred that you have an MBA, right? That means if you have an MBA, it'll enhance your candidacy, but it's not going to hurt you, right? If you have a bachelor's degree, you'll still be considered, right? So that's what it is. And oftentimes, if we're just talking about decoding the job description, a lot of times the preferred requirements tell you, if you get the job, this is what you need to work towards to build your career.
Yes,
right?
if you want to get to the next level at that place, those are the things you're going to need to keep going.
Yeah. So if you see MBA preferred, it's like, okay, if I get the job, a lot of times those preferred requirements will tell you what you need to do as far as your career development once you get in. Yes. Right. Because this is where we want the person to go, but we'll hire you if you got this, but this is where we really want this person to go. So again, talking about decoding job descriptions, sometimes you look at the preferred, you're not going to be assessed against the preferred. No. The preferred is telling you, if you get the job, this is where we would like you to go. We would like you to go get that certification. So I got this camera is kind of, it moves sometimes, but yeah, but sometimes it tells you that's where we will look for you to be maybe another year or two. So if you get in, think about getting that PMP certification. Think about getting that Scrum Master certification. It's not preferred, it's not required, but it's definitely preferred.
Yeah. So that's also something you talk about in the interview, right? Oh, I know this job, would love it if I had an MBA, and that's something that I've been wanting to strive and achieve in the next few years. I have that on my, I mean, talk about that. That sets you up like a great candidate.
Yeah.
Okay, we're more than halfway through the show. We're
Yeah.
gonna do a really quick because Michelle's not here and I want to do something fun, break up the seriousness of the show. We're gonna do a little fun game of would you rather. If you are watching, tell me in the comments what you would rather. Bobby's gonna answer first. Okay, so Bobby,
Hmm.
would you rather have a candidate ghost you or stalk you?
I'd rather have a candidate stalk me.
I'm the opposite. Ghost me all day. Do not stalk me.
Yeah. Because, I don't know, it's just something to say about, like, I know it could be annoying, but I think it's something to say about hunger and desire. Especially somebody like me who has an athletic background,
Hmm.
and somebody like myself who had to dispel a lot of stereotypes. Not to make the conversation serious, but I
You're
think it's something to say about somebody who has desire. Right now, could it sometimes be annoying? I mean, honestly, yeah, but I think it's something to say about people who have desire and a I'm not gonna give up attitude.
I hear
I've
you.
grown throughout my career and years here to really appreciate that.
Okay, I get that side of it, but if you show up at the mall while I'm shopping with your resume, we got a problem.
Okay, now okay, I see what you're saying. I was just thinking like maybe somebody just messaging me or just like stalking my
No.
LinkedIn profile. If you show up at the mall and like I'm okay, yeah, I'm with you
Like
on that.
somebody knock on the front door during Thanksgiving, like I brought the potatoes, let me in. Here's my resume. Let's go. Like, no.
Okay, I'm with you on that. Yeah, if
Okay.
we're talking about that level, yeah, that's definitely no.
That's a little bit much. But look, they all said they would rather somebody stalk them than ghost them. I hear you. Ghosting is unethical and unprofessional, and I complain about it when it happens. But I would complain much more about somebody stalking me in the way that I just spoke about. Okay, if you're a job seeker, let me know. Bobby, you answer as a hiring manager. Would you rather? Okay, so if you're a job seeker, this is you would always be 10 minutes late or 20 minutes early. Would you always want to be 10 minutes late to an interview or you're always 20 minutes early to an interview?
You asking me?
Or as a hiring manager, would you rather the job seeker always shows up 10 minutes late or you have to show up 20 minutes early to every interview you've ever set?
Um, Here's what I say. I say early is always the best policy.
Yes.
Yeah, early is always the best policy. If your interview is at 3 p.m. Eastern, show up at 2:40.
Yeah.
Show
Bobby
up
showed
like
up so early today. I was still getting my water. I wasn't even sitting at the computer.
yeah. I mean, I think you can if you're there early, you can if there's an in-person interview, you can sit in the lobby and go over your resume a little bit.
Yes.
But if you're rushing,
Sure.
that anxiety from rushing is gonna translate into your interview, right?
Yeah.
So I'd rather you show early and relax, calm your nerves.
Everybody agrees early. I love this from Keith. You can't show up late. Keith, if you'd only met half the job seekers that show up for interviews with me, you would know that that is not true. And David says, if you're on time, you are late. I so agree with you. Not that early. 20 minutes early for every interview. I don't know. That's a lot for me. I even only like buffer my interviews like in 5 minute intervals. I'm so bad about it. I stack them back to back. I was driving back from like Central Florida yesterday to South Florida. I think I had like 22 minutes to spare in my drive time before I had to be on a actual.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Would you rather forget to brush your teeth or forget to put on deodorant before an interview?
Mm. Brush your teeth or put on deodorant. If I'm a job seeker,
Yeah.
I would say I'd rather forget to brush my teeth.
Forget to brush your teeth.
Yeah, because
And
you can
close.
always chew gum
Oh, okay.
or
I know.
have a mint.
So you're
But
gonna
if you
sit
don't
right.
have your deodorant on, though, man, that travels.
Okay.
That
Last one.
travels. Yeah.
Would you rather have a unibrow or a bad haircut for your LinkedIn profile picture?
um, unibrow, unibrow.
I don't know. I think I'd pick a bad haircut. Oh, I don't know. I feel like I'd look really funny with a unibrow. I don't have anything to like hold up and pretend, but I don't know. Stop. We will not stop. Brush teeth. If you were in a rush, ask for water to calm the nerves. That is a great tip, Gregory. Yes, always ask for water. Everybody agrees. Forget to brush teeth. I don't know. I don't know. Carry perfume in my purse. I don't feel like I stink that bad. I really want to brush my teeth. I get so uncomfortable when I forget to brush my teeth. Look, unibrow. Keith says bad haircut. Gregory says unibrow. I don't know how I feel about the unibrow for the would you rather. I don't know. How often do you change your LinkedIn picture, Bobby?
Um, Probably once a year. I'm due to change it now. I will be changing it up soon, but I try to change it once a year.
He will be changing it up soon, y'all. I know
Yeah.
I'm due too. Marissa says if you're only 20 minutes early in, I think that's Arkansas, that can easily make you an hour late with traffic. Yeah, same with Atlanta. My girlfriend lives in Atlanta, and you have to leave like 4 hours early to do anything.
Yeah.
Bad, bad haircut. Yeah, I think I'd rather have a bad haircut than unibrow. I don't know. Now I'm gonna go look for somebody with a unibrow on LinkedIn, and I'm gonna DM you their profile and tell you this is what you would look like if you had a unibrow.
Yeah, take a look at it.
All right, y'all. We have a couple more topics. Bobby's going to take us away on networking for introverts because if you know me, I'm not an introvert. So I cannot take us away on this topic. But Bobby, I'll let you lead it off and I will comment and interject when I can.
Yeah. So, I talk to, many candidates and just even outside of, my day-to-day, work, just people wanting advice and tips. And I know a lot of times, networking and putting yourself out there for introverts can be hard, right? Because, if we think about extroversion versus introversion, introverts, their energy is more fueled through activity, not necessarily through, interaction with people, right? So I know a lot of times people think it's like a loud, quiet thing, but it's not. It's just introverts are more motivated or they're more energized through activity. So what I always tell introverts, if you're going to don't necessarily think about going to like a traditional networking type of event where there's people there, there's drinks. That might be very awkward for you, right? I've always said some of the best networking and some of the best connections I've met, or even I've know other introverts are met at places where actual activity that you're interested in is going on, right? Um, so I've met executives at the food bank, right? If that's an activity that you like, you're meeting people through an activity, right? So you're meeting people through something you're doing together that you have in common, right? The volunteering at the youth soccer game, like there's like hiring managers there, there's executives there, doing things that you like from an activity standpoint. And you never know who you'll end up sitting next to, right? So find activities that you like to do, whether it's, joining a run club, doing Pilates, yoga. There are business leaders, entrepreneurs in there, C-level executives, board members in there who have a shared interest in the same thing that you're there for, right? So instead of going somewhere and putting yourself in a position where the only thing to do is talk to people, put yourself in a situation where you lead with the activity first and then let the activity that you're doing that you have in common spark a conversation with somebody. So that's a tip I would give. Another tip I would give is, let's say you are introverted and you have to go to like a conference or a networking event. Go with a buddy, get a tag partner, go a wingman or wingwoman or wing person, right? And kind of experience that together, right? Find somebody, that you're close to that's a connector and have them introduce you to people. Maybe they're the more extroverted one, maybe they're the one that's the connector, and have them introduce you to people. When you go at it alone as an introvert, sometimes it can be overwhelming, but if you have like a buddy or two, not necessarily a large crowd, but like one or two people that you can go to and kind of take on that landscape together, sometimes connecting with people doesn't have to be as daunting because you don't feel like all the pressure is on you as an introvert.
I love that. If you need a conference buddy, I volunteer. Just get me a ticket to the conference. I come. I'll be your buddy. I introduce you to anybody you want to know. I act like I know everybody, and I will tell them that you are amazing and all the things that you need because I got you.
Yeah.
And really, I think it's more fun to attend conferences when you do know at least one person. I think they're overwhelming even for extroverts. I'm an extrovert. Even for extroverts, it's overwhelming to go to something where you don't know anyone. So if you are an introvert, the other thing I would say, and I think Bobby's making a good point of this, is put yourself in situations that are going to be more comfortable for you. Think about it in a sense of, I can make this comfortable if I do certain things. It's not that something is out of reach or couldn't be good for you. It's just not comfortable for you in the way that you think about doing it. So
Yep.
think about the other ways you could do it. Because that's why I feel like everybody's like, well, it's the way it's always been done. No, we need to innovate, and there's lots of ways you can innovate. The other thing I will say is, I know you said like a run club, and there's a lot of ways you can volunteer. I talk to a lot of people like when they go to the gym and things like that. Like, yes, you meet people, but you got to also be willing to say hello and meet the people in the run group and talk to the people at the volunteer thing you're doing. You still have to talk to people. So put yourself in the position, but practice. The first thing Bobby talked about like way long ago was effective communication. Practice effective communication so that when you get into these scenarios, you can actually have that conversation.
Right. And one other thing I want to add, because I know we're up, coming up on time.
Mm-hmm.
I think just for networking as a whole, for both introverts and extroverts, make non-transactional relationships, right?
Yeah.
For instance, like a lot of people go, like they'll go to a conference or some sort of, networking event. Hey, what do you do? Right? Ask people, and this is something I do. Hey, are you working, after you introduce yourself, hey, you got any interesting projects, anything, what's interesting for you right now? What do you focus on right now? Right? Or lead with finding something that you got in common with the person. Like, if you're going to the gym and if you really genuinely like that person's sneakers, hey, I really like your sneakers. I was looking for those a week ago and I went and they were completely sold out. People like when you're interested in them. So focus on just making relationships, right? That are non-transactional, right? Lead with the relationship first. Find things in common, and then those other things will come. And I promise you, after the networking event or after that that social event, they'll remember you over somebody who just asked them what they do.
Yes, that is a great, great tip. People love to talk about themselves. Really quick, comments in Doso. I saw a few new people pop in. My mother's in the comments. Hi, Mom. And I think that means my kid is watching too because my kid's with my mom. So, hi, Axel. Shout out to you. This man played basketball. Listen up. We're about to talk about the fact that he was an athlete. And we're going to talk about winning in the workplace as a former athlete. So, Bobby, no pressure, but my kid's watching. And we really need to talk about how to win in the workplace. And the fact that you won so much as an athlete and then transition that into such a successful career, I think really just speaks volumes to what an athlete can really bring to the table.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of times, former athletes, particularly former college athletes like myself, like after you've put all you can put into it and you've given it your all, a lot of times people think, especially after their college career, that life is over. And it's not, right? Once you start your career, there's a lot of things that I learned when I started my career. There's a lot of things I learned as an athlete that I took with me into corporate spaces. One of the key things that, never lose your competitive edge. Never lose your competitive edge. There'll be people that tell you like, oh, we don't like things to be so competitive. That's fine. But it's okay to have healthy competition, right? What's going to be the thing that's going to drive you and get you up in the morning to log in and hit your goals, right? Is it sometimes it is, healthy competition with a peer. So a lot of times it's just competition with yourself. I want to be better than I was yesterday. And I think that's a lot that goes into the athlete's mindset. You think about, some of the greatest athletes of all time, like, Muhammad Ali or like a Babe Ruth, Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, a lot of these incredible athletes, Kobe Bryant, rest in peace. He had the Mamba mentality. He was trying to be better than he was yesterday. Right. So that's one of the things I took into from the locker room to the boardroom, I guess, or to the, that's what I did. I kept my competitive edge. Right. That's going to be key. Discipline. A lot of athletes that were successful, they're up early. They're up before everybody else. They're always working on their skills. Right. And sometimes all the time, they're investing time outside of practice or outside of game day to make themselves better. Yeah, your coach devotes, a certain amount of practice, right? But what are you doing outside of practice to get better? Are you getting your 5,000 jump shots up? People see the jersey back here and they see the trophy. that, me and my teammates got. But a lot of people don't know we were doing 5 a.m. workouts in the pool. We were up practicing until 10:30 at night to get that, right? So having that work ethic, having that mindset that like, yeah, I'm going to log in a little bit earlier today. I'm not saying log in at 5 a.m. right? But I'm gonna log in a little bit earlier today. I'm gonna find one thing that I can help hone my skills. Also being coachable,
Yeah.
taking feedback, right? Like every great athlete had a coach. Michael Jordan had a coach. Tom Brady had a great coach. At some point in your career, no matter how good or successful you are, you're gonna need coaching at some point in your career on something. I have a mentor. I've accomplished a whole lot in talent acquisition. I'm one of the most successful out there, award-winning talent acquisition leader, but my mentor is better than me. And he is where I want to be, 5-10 years from now. And I open up space for him to coach me, to tell me not only the good things I do well, but hey, Bobby, here's some things you could do different, and here's how we get you there. And receiving it and trusting him as my coach to do those things, and as my mentor to do those things. So those are just a few things that I've seen that have helped me be successful, but also other athletes that I know as well. Taking those things that you learn as a college athlete or even as a professional athlete, your life isn't over. You can still find ways to be competitive and be successful and still have that drive and passion that you had once you were athlete. It's just the field or the court just changes.
Yeah. You're still playing the game. It's just a different game. And the other thing, and I want to just say, Bobby's an athlete, not me in this sense, but I think that the biggest way that this transitions to a workplace and for you to really be successful is, and I know it's a cliche, but it's a cliche for a reason, is you got to keep that day one attitude. Just like an athlete, that day one attitude, when you get to that college team or you get to that NBA team and you're so excited to have that opportunity and to be where you're at, and you have that moment and that day one when you get there, you feel that way the first day of a new job. You are so excited. You finally got this thing, especially if you're on the job market right now. But how quickly do we get jaded and how quickly do we lose that mentality? And if we could keep that mentality, the discipline is easier. The things that you're talking about are easier because you have that mentality. Gregory says Kobe was at the gym at 4 a.m. There's a series on him on CNN if you want to watch it.
Yeah, it's coming up.
He says, my coach is still my coach. Yes, everybody needs a mentor. I talked about that before on the show. It's super important. And like Bobby said, you got to be coachable in order to really be a winner and stand out in the workplace.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and being mentally tough as well. Like you're not being too high at the high moments, but not being too low in the low moments. I know that's easier said than done, because I know we've all experienced highs of highs and lows of lows in our career. But coming from a winning team, we had to handle winning. If we can handle winning well, we also had to handle losing well. And it's not saying have a loser's mentality, but it's like, okay, what lessons did we learn from this loss? I remember one time on our championship season, we got blew out by like 40 points. And it was rare because we were the number one team in the country. How do you guys get blown out by 40 points? That was the lowest part of our season. We didn't sulk in it. We were sad for a day, but we were like, how do we get out of this so this doesn't happen again? Right. And we had to continue to prepare, continue to practice. And that year we won the championship. So being mentally strong as well and being able to deal with highs and lows.
That's so important. So important. All right, y'all. It's almost the end of the show. Don't forget, you have your very last chance to comment Sendoso to win a Nip Yada Cheers to a Year drinkable card. You have to ship it to someone in the USA. If you're not in the USA, you just got to ship it to somebody who is. And while you are doing that, Bobby, this is my favorite part of the show. Did you think of a fun Friday fact for everyone?
Fun Friday fact. Oh man. Fun Friday fact. I'm on the spot here. Let me see.
It could be a basketball fact. It could be a recruiting fact. It could be about you. It could be anything that people don't know.
Recruiters take about 6 to 9 seconds to look at your resume before they make a decision if they're going to take another 6 or 9 seconds to look again.
Okay. And then a fact for you, and I am putting you on the spot here, so sorry if you don't want to answer. What's the most annoying thing to you on a resume or not on a resume?
The most annoying thing is a resume that's not formatted.
Okay.
It's hard to read. It's hard to read a resume that doesn't have good format because it has to be readable. And if your format is jumbled up, then it's going to be hard for me to read and digest the information.
I completely agree with you. For me, it's when the resume doesn't have a phone number. Because y'all, I want to call you.
Oh yeah.
Number on the resume. All right, we're gonna do the drawing for the Sendoso giveaway. Are y'all ready? All right, we only had 4 people enter today. Oh, my mother is in there. Mom, you want to win some Fireball? What are you doing? She's never won. Okay, David, you win. Cheers to a year. Send me your email address. That's all I need to get this over to you. Bobby, it was fun. Any final words for the people?
I hope everybody, had a happy holidays if you celebrate the holidays. And I know we have a new year coming up, so let's get it. 2025 it's here. So I wish all the listeners, best of luck in 2025. Lauren, thank you for having me. This was great. Hopefully, the things I said everybody found impactful and useful. So thank you so much.
Bobby, people learned and leveled up today. I am positive. Y'all, we are not here next Friday. I'm taking the first Friday of 2025 off. I hope you can understand. We will see you the Friday after that. But it's been a wonderful year. It's been a great season. This is in season 2. We're coming back for season 3. Bobby, I think you were the perfect way to end the year. So thank you so much for joining us today. And y'all, I hope you have a good new year. You know what I always say, if you didn't like it, don't come back.
And with that, the 2024 season comes to an end. Good night.